Space. An endless scape void of anything except for the occasional mixture of hydrogen and helium held together by gravity. Every so often, you get a clump of rocks that get caught in the gravity and they start to move in circles around it because that's just how it works. Every so often, out of that, one of those clumps of rocks, pointlessly rotating around a mixture of gas, gets caught in just the right place where water can liquefy. And because of laws and science or whatever other bullshit, life occurs. I roll my eyes, preparing for another one of my friend Austin's passionate rants about how arbitrary the concept of life is. Yeah, I replied. Thanks for explaining to me how we are all here. Can I go now? I've got class early tomorrow. No, just listen to me, man. What is stopping the idea that life can exist in other forms? Beings adapted to live in any conditions. I mean, we have seen it with a tardigrade. It can survive the vacuum of space. Who is saying beings similar to that nature, and maybe even intelligent, aren't out there somewhere? Laws that humans who don't know everything have deemed fact. Answer me that. You sound ridiculous, dude, I said, slinging my backpack over my shoulder and exiting the lab. You know I'm right, Austin called out from behind as I walked away. Sorry. I should probably introduce myself. My name's Carter. I'm a 22-year-old college senior. For the last 4 years I've been studying astronomy. Something about space, the unknown, so much to explore and learn. It's always intrigued me. I mean, think about it. We are a tiny blue island in the middle of a massive void, and we don't even know how big it is. Of course, all of this was how I felt before I found out what I know. But we'll get to that in due time. I met Austin during the freshman year. When I was looking for roommates, I put that I would prefer someone who is also an astronomy major, and he ended up being my roommate. We became best friends very quickly. Countless late-night talks about the universe and what may be in it. With a mutual passion, we both loved staying out late and looking at planets and stars through our telescope. We also loved staying late at lab and doing research. Call us nerds, but we loved it. Over the past few months though, Austin had begun to get obsessed. He started talking about new energy wave he had discovered. Apparently, if done right, it could be used for travel across the universe in seconds. Opening up wormholes is how he described it. He was convinced that other forms of life had surely discovered this method previously, and if he could tap into it, we could hopefully contact other life forms. It began to get odd. He would spend late nights at the lab, barely sleeping. He had bags under his eyes, messy hair, empty Red Bull cans, always within an arm's reach for him. I just need to be able to find where it's coming from, he would always say. How do you even know this energy wave even exists? How did you find it? I asked him one day. It's too hard to explain to you now, but you have to believe me. Trust me, it's there. I will prove to you that there is life out there in the universe, and it's causing it. I will find it, he replied. I rolled my eyes and left him to his pointless tinkering. I was beginning to lose my friend. He had gone mad. It was sad, but at the same time, I couldn't let it put a stop to my life. I had to quit worrying about him and just hope that one day he'd come to his senses and give it up. Last week, however, at 2 a.m. I received a call. It was from Austin. I answered it, wiping the tiredness from my eyes. Hello? I asked into the phone. Get over here now, dude. I did it. I found a way to detect it. I can prove it to you. Get over here now, he yelled ecstatically. What? Okay, I'm on my way. I'll be there in 10 minutes, I replied, throwing my clothes on and rushing to my car. On the drive over there, I wasn't even sure what to think. Had he really done what he'd been trying to do? Had all this madness not been madness after all? I was still very skeptical, but the thoughts itched in the back of my mind. I pulled into the parking lot of the lab and called Austin. "I'm here, where are you?" I asked. "Okay, great, I'm coming to let you in." A few seconds later, I saw Austin shove the door open and wave at me to come inside. I got out of the car and started walking up to him. "Hurry up, man, you need to see this." "I did it," he yelled. "Shh, keep your voice down," I said. "I don't want campus police pulling up on us. I'm pretty sure we are not even supposed to be here." We got inside, and once the door closed, I finally asked, "Now what exactly did you do?" He was vibrating with excitement. "You know that energy wave I've been trying to find? Trace to its source, discover life. Well, I found a way to do it. I found a way to trace it back." I was puzzled. "What? How?" I replied. "I'll show you. Follow me." We rushed downstairs to the lab, and when I walked through the door, the biggest contraption I had ever seen was filling the entire room. It was a massive glass tube circling the perimeter of the room, and in the center was a laptop hooked up to a massive computer. "What the hell is this?" I asked. This, my friend, is what I've been keeping secret for so long. I've made my very own particle accelerator. I've been keeping it a secret because I know if you or any of my professors found out, they would force me to stop. But I've done it. How it works is I have a bending magnet on one end, and at the other end is a focusing magnet. When the electricity is flipped on, the atoms begin to hurl towards each other and collide with each other. Not bad physics for an astronomy major, huh? I was astonished. How had he done all of this? Where had he assembled it? How did he get in the lab? This was ridiculous and none of it made sense. And he was right. He was an astronomy major. Where did he learn all of the highly advanced physics needed to even think of something like this? It was quite easy, really. I did some research and I learned all you needed is an electric field and magnets to focus those fields. Was all I could get out. I had so many questions, but I was too dumbfounded to ask them. The only one I got out was why. He smirked. This is where a little luck comes into play. You know the theory of Higgs boson, right? Well, this new energy wave is in the Higgs field. What we do here is we throw the particles at each other. When they collide, we only have a small window to completely shut off the contraption. What this will do is interrupt the collision. And if the Higgs boson is formed, it will transcend it into a lower energy state. When one Higgs boson does this, it causes a reaction with other Higgs bosons possibly created. This is that energy I've been trying to prove. The Higgs boson is what gives mass to everything, right? So when transcended into a lower energy state, it takes away the mass. What I've been trying to prove has literally been anti-mass in a sense. My head was swirling with 1 million thoughts a second. Anti-mass? Higgs bosons? What? How the hell had he figured all of this out? He continued. I know I've proved it because I've done it once. I tested it myself and it worked. Only for a split second though. I couldn't see shit, but I'm telling you, something's out there causing this. I just know it. And I'm gonna find out what it is. We aren't the only ones in the universe, and surely some other life form had discovered this. I know it. And if I can just do it right, I'll be able to contact them. Are you with me? He asked. I don't know what to say, man. This is all insane. What exactly do you plan to do, even if you are right? I just need to know I'm not insane. Now again, are you with me? He asked. I shook my head, I guess. What exactly do we have to do? He immediately went to the laptop. He started typing in a few things and then looked at me. When I press this button, the particle accelerator is going to turn on, and we are going to count to 10. Right at 10 seconds, I want you to go to the wall over there and unplug the 2 power cords you see in there, okay? Tell me right before you do it, and I will halt the acceleration at the same time. This should cause the reaction I'm looking for. What happens after that? I guess we'll have to find out. Are you ready? No, I said. Austin laughed. Neither am I, he said. But let's do this. I walked over to the power cords and waited for him to start it up. He pressed the button. The accelerator started up. A small humming noise could be heard throughout the room. It actually worked. I was amazed. He wasn't kidding. Right at that moment, he started counting down from 10. I began to get ready. 3, 2, 1. I pulled the cords out as hard as I could, and right as I did, I saw Austin slam the keyboard of the laptop. In a split second, the power shut off and glass tubes circling the room shattered. A portal ripped open and began shaking the room violently. It was swirling around the edges and paper was flying everywhere. I tried my best to see what was on the other side, but shattered glass and paper were flying all over the room and I had to cover my face. I could see stars. Space, I thought. Through muffled vision and loud, chaotic noise, I heard Austin scream. Austin, are you okay? I yelled. But I got no reply. I then began to see a massive hand the size of the room itself extend out from the portal. It was no human hand. Far too gargantuan and jet black. Each finger was the size of me. I saw it slowly come through the portal and wrap itself around Austin. Austin was crying out in fear. I watched as it slowly pulled him back into the portal and closed it behind him. The last thing I heard was Austin screaming, but his screams being drowned out by the void of space screaming back. The portal swirled violently until it abruptly disappeared. I was left there alone, the room in shambles and the power out. I was hyperventilating. I frantically looked around the room, hoping to see Austin, praying that the entire thing was a hallucination. I then began to hear sirens outside. That was last week. I was questioned by the police, and I could barely even tell them what happened. They walked in and saw the room in shambles, and me sitting there, a panicked mess. I was of course arrested, and am now facing obstruction of property charges and mentally ill since the story I told them was obviously very unbelievable. I was expelled and now have to pay back the damage done to the lab. I am telling this because no one believes me, and I am hoping you all on here will. I've tried to explain it to my parents, but they just shake their heads in disappointment. The only thing no one can seem to explain though is the disappearance of Austin. The police started an investigation, and of course I am their primary suspect. Austin died trying to prove what he believed in. I thought he was crazy, but in reality he was right. I know what happened to him. He was taken by whatever the thing on the other side of the portal was. I never saw its face, but I know Austin did. The brief moments I was able to catch a glance of him, he was wearing the most horrified face I'd ever seen on a person. I'm not sure how I will mentally recover from all of this. All I can say is after my encounter, I now know there are things in the universe that are simply meant to be left alone. If humanity goes knocking on doors it shouldn't be, how long until something knocks back? I've seen what exists in our universe. It took my friend. There are things we don't understand and weren't meant to understand. Maybe it should stay that way.